Time to decode the Supreme Court order because every unpad Gawar is interpreting in their own language. Also, Rajamata came out and said, Supreme Court has put their hands up. They said ABC is supreme. Now go and learn ABC and start doing ABC. Make money. This is what you've been doing 20 years. Further learn ABC and do. So all this while you didn't learn ABC, but you're doing ABC. That's what it means. Absolute nonsense. Everything has been destroyed. ABC, it exists only in paper now. Let me explain to you. So what was this judgment is about? In August 22nd and May 7th, initially it was Lordship Pardiwala and Mr. Mahadevan came out and said, remove all the dogs, put them in shelters. Then there was so much of revolt and all the public, the celebrities were brought in by Rajamata and the foreign funded NGOs, making more sound. And Supreme Court got shocked. So everybody is coming to the streets. These are street dogs. Half the celebrities wouldn't have seen them also, but they're coming and supporting. So let's see what is there. So they constituted a 3-judge bench. 2 judge to appeal ho jayega na. So 3 judge. So let's make it a constitutional bench. So they started hearing. August 22, they passed some orders, amended the Pardiwala and Mahadevan because everybody was opposing that. Then November 7, they upheld it. Then all these people started filing hundreds of applications saying that we are challenging that November 7th order. Okay, do it. 600 advocates came and hundreds of petitions. More the merrier. 3-judge bench was at their wits, literally making fun of those buggers who are coming and arguing there. I keep saying when they kept claiming they're animal lovers, but they're only kuttawalas. They know how to feed dogs and they know how to hug and kiss dogs. Nothing more than that. The suffering of the dog in the street, nobody cares because time pass is very important. The name of dogs, Dadagiri. All that they have to do. That has become the norm. And Rajamata will pick up the phone, abuse IAS officer, IPS officer, or a veterinary officer. In a 5-minute conversation, she will call him bastard 50 times. All that is happening. We've been watching this silently. And anybody opposes, anybody, try to make sense, talk sense to people, they get angry. They file false cases, including me, and get remanded. Good. We go to court, we come back with more strength and we got to fight you. So that's what happened here. So all these petitions are filed, challenging how can Supreme Court overrule a statutory provision, which is ABC rules. ABC rules, I keep saying, it's toilet paper. It is only set of rules. It is not an act. And it was enacted in violation of the Parent Act, which is Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act. So it's ultra vires also. The challenge is not taken place yet. That will happen now in Madras High Court. I'll come to that later. So they went and challenged. All the senior counsels came saying, no, Milord, you're wrong. We are only right. So Milord said, see, under Article 142, Supreme Court has the rights to correct all these statutory provisions, the rules. We can even veto it. We can throw it in the dustbin or flush it in the toilet. If it's going to challenge fundamental rights provided by the Constitution. Here, by re-releasing stray dogs on public places, you are threatening the life of human beings. That is the right the Constitution gives the people of India. You cannot violate or challenge that. When you do that, that becomes an error. The Supreme Court's job is to correct that error. Bago, can say. Then one more thing they challenged, they said AWBI, SOP. After the 7th November order 2025, they said form an SOP. What is that each state and union territory has to do now? Because they ordered remove from colleges, schools, hospitals, bus terminus, and public places where there are a lot of gathering. So when AWBI made the SOP, they also included temples, parks, etc. So you said only 5 locations. They have added 2 more. So that is also in violation of your order. We said we didn't want to go and number 100 different places. We say public spaces when there are a lot of public gathering, and those places are not meant for dogs. It includes everything. So it doesn't matter if the SOP has added 2 more places. It doesn't matter. Then they dwelled upon the re-releasing the dog back in all these gated campuses, which are the schools, colleges. So they said, see, there's a nuisance, public nuisance, and the dogs are threatening their life and harming them. And how can these dogs, after sterilization, released back into the gated campuses, which has to be protected? So that it's a violation. And they said, vetoed it. No. So then all people see only colleges and bus terminal, airport, high courts, and hospitals are protected. Not RW. The RW we can continue feeding and doing that nakra and drama and beat each other to death. Gated campuses cannot be made public places for your time pass, dog feeding time pass, and fighting with your neighbors. Sorry. The entertainment is over. Picture khatam. Now go home. That is the message was given. Okay. So no more. And also they knocked off the community dog part. You dump a dog in the public place where there are a lot of human beings, and it's harming them. And you want to call it community dog? Bakwas, aisa kuch naam hi nahi hai. There's nothing like that in the history of mankind, any dictionary, anywhere in the world. So that is also over. Okay. No more re-release. Feeding in public places. When you feed, they multiply. No more feeding. Only in designated spots by corporation. So what will happen? Probably among four streets, one street will be given. So dogs will go, and the hefty dogs and the brave dogs will go and eat first and come off. Then the meek ones will go in the middle of the night. Other ones will starve and run away from the place. They'll disappear. So population will reduce. So feeding is a nuisance. So if you continue feeding like the way you're throwing food on every road, you can get arrested. Period. So feeding time pass, cut up. I don't know what these aunties will do. Probably they'll watch serials now. Okay. What will happen to the dogs which are removed from the gated campuses? They have to be sheltered. Now, they gave you 6 months to create these shelters, build capacity, find out how many dogs are there, how many dogs has to be taken. You did nothing. So they were blaming them, saying that this municipalities have not taken any care, and this 20 years they've been doing the same thing. That's why sterilization did not happen properly. But there's also corruption. We know what they did. They were making money happily. They were keeping the organs in formaldehyde, repeatedly showing the same thing and taking out money from the civic bodies, and not really doing the animal birth control. Mainly not caring for the dog. Dog has none of the 5 freedoms in the streets, and they never bothered or cared. They were actually, letting them to rot and die. So now, if there are aggressive dogs, what will you do? The dogs are there. There are too many dogs in one place. They're biting. They're chasing bite. Take them and euthanize. They're aggressive, euthanize. Anyway, ill and rabid and all that, you have to euthanize. This is also euthanize. Now, the moment you start euthanizing, all this jing bang, kutta walas and kutta walis and premis, they'll start going and fighting with the veterinary officer of municipal corporation and panchayat, and sometime beat him up, and sometime take him, file an FIR against him. They use some political influence here and there, like what they did to us. They will use that and they file a case against them, all that. They have been given immunity. You cannot touch any of the veterinary officers. Their decision is final. You can't file FIR. You can't complain. You can't try to beat them up. You will get punished. So that immunity has been given. So the veterinary officer in the corporation of Panchayat is the king. He will decide which dog to put down. If you ask me, if there's no shelter, he can put down all the dogs. Period. So now next portion is the ABC challenge. Now ABC is ultra virus, I said. So we have hundreds of documents to prove that. That will happen in the respective high courts, because the Supreme Court said we can't sit here and monitor the entire nation. It's time consuming and cumbersome. So let the relevant respective regional high courts take it up, and all those cases, our cases which are transferred to Supreme Court, are being transferred back. So the courts will start hearing it. They will also monitor month on month progress, how many shelters are built, how many ABC pounds have been created, and how much of dogs have been brought in, how much have been kept in shelters. All that nitty-gritty they will go into. So they also have to give a report card to the Supreme to High Court. First of all, the Chief Secretary has to give a report card once in 3 months, and the High Courts will in turn report to the Supreme Court. Next hearing is 17th November 2026 in Supreme Court. So this is what they have said. So ABC khatam. If Rajamata says you can still do ABC, probably you can do it for each other. Like how Rajamata's husband tried to do it for human beings. All this rubbish and nonsense, and picking up the phone and abusing people. This has to come to an end. And court, Bharatiya Janata Party, everybody has realized it's been nuisance in the name of animal birth control. Dogs were abused. Dogs were also abused. They didn't have a great life on the streets. Small children, elderly, disabled, wildlife and livestock. Everything is harmed. When you just step on a dog poop and come home, you bring in 20 diseases. You bring in rabies also when they bite you. You bring it to your domestic dogs, domestic cats. All that thing. And big cats are dying in numbers in Madhya Pradesh because of distemper from dogs. And wild boars are dying. All these has to come to an end. India has to be rabies free by 2030. We have a mandate to the United Nations and WHO that we'll be rabies free by 2030. Hopefully, Modi ji government will ensure there are no street dogs by 2030. Thank you very much for listening. Slap those buggers with this video.